Hello and welcome to News Made Simple with me, Kumalo. This is the platform where we make news simple. We help you make sense of it all. Listen, there's a lot happening in the world around us. No one expects you to have it all figured out. That's why I'm here helping you make sense of it all. Thank you so much for choosing us today, and thank you so much for your time and your attention. The main story in South Africa is the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, and we're staying on that theme in this video. There was a lot that happened at the commission today. It was an important testimony that we heard. But before we get into it all, I do want to invite you to like, comment, and subscribe. Share with all the people around you. And also remember to click the notification bell so that you are notified of the new videos that are uploaded. Of course, if you have already subscribed, I want to say thank you. I appreciate you so much. And all of you that are coming from my other platforms, TikTok, Instagram, shout out. Welcome, fam. Thank you so much for following me on here. It doesn't go unnoticed and it is much appreciated. Okay, let's get into what happened today at the Commission of Inquiry. It was an eventful day at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry today, and we were expecting it to be rather eventful. Many people saying they can't wait for Monday when it was announced on Friday who the witness at the Commission of Inquiry would be today. Of course, it's the man himself, crime intelligence boss, Lieutenant General Dumisani Khumalo. He's the man at the center of it all. I do know that many of us are tempted to believe that General Mkhwanazi is the Beyonce of the Commission of Inquiry, and maybe he is, depending on how you look at it. But Dumisani Khumalo is really the man at the center of it all. He's got all the files because he is the crime intelligence boss, and he is the testimony that we need to connect all the dots. And that's exactly what we've started getting at the Commission of Inquiry today. So I want us to start here. When Dumisani Khumalo initially took the witness stand today, it was rather slow. His testimony started, as we saw even with General Mkhwanazi, with a lot of, of the admin, who the man is, what his credentials are, where he's from. And we got a sense that he's a very experienced cop, a high-performing cop. He's been, through the ranks and he's made his way to the very top. And he's explained how he started in policing in 1991 and he's ultimately made it to Lieutenant General, being promoted from being a brigadier. Now, we then, later on in the afternoon, got a bit of the crux of Dumisani Khumalo's testimony, which he started to get into. Kumalo has explained the science behind cartels and syndicates. Oftentimes, there is this belief or, there's a mistake that we make of using the term cartel and syndicate interchangeably, but the two are very different. Kumalo explained how, in terms of hierarchy, the cartel is the term for the entire corporation or enterprise. And all these syndicates make up the cartel. And at the top of the cartel is a single man or a single person who runs the entire thing. And all these people in the syndicates report to that person at the very top. We got a sense that in this cartel that he's explaining, which is made up of what he calls the Big Five, the main business here is drugs. And there are other businesses that they are allegedly involved in, but drugs are the main business. And I'm going to explain what all these other businesses are. But we got a sense of this Big Five. We still don't know yet who all the members of the Big Five are. For now, we know that Wusumuzi Kat Matala is one of the players and Katiso Katie Mulev. Now, isn't it interesting that while they seem like they are big players, they own millions in properties and vehicles, they are, big players, it seems, or high flyers, in crime syndicates and crime spaces, allegedly. They are not at the top of this. In fact, they are at the bottom of the top five. There are people above them, or there is two levels above them. That was interesting for me to note, that with all their millions and with all their fancy properties in places like Sandton, high walls, flashy lives, they're not the big sharks here. The big sharks, the big wigs, they are there. And these people, Wusmuzi Katbatala and Katiso Katie Mulefe, report to that top person in the cartel. This is according to Dumisani Khumalo. Now, we still don't know who the main person in this cartel is at this stage, and I'm hoping he will give us a name soon. But something else that we've learned is that these cartels have already penetrated political spaces. And we have seen that through the allegations made against the man Brown Mkhwanazi, who is believed to be the link between Minister Senzo Mchunu and Vusmuzi Cat Madlanga. That shows the political connection and the fact that this Brown Mkhwanazi, who is believed to be involved in funding for the ANC, is an acquaintance to these criminal figures. Of course, they are alleged criminal figures. But he's the link and the connect, which shows that these cartels have made their way into the political terrain. This is all according to Dumisani Khumalo. And I'm hoping that's another theme that he will expand on as he continues with his testimony at the Commission of Inquiry. Now, we've learned that there are many other businesses that these cartels are involved in order to secure money. Did you ever believe, or imagine, I should say, that while South Africa has a widespread crime problem, we know that there are all types of crimes in all shapes and forms in this country, in all corners of this country. But did you ever believe that the people that are running the syndicates in terms of cash and transit heists, ATM bombings, as well as the killings of DJs, popular musicians, as well as, what else? Tender fraud. Did you ever imagine that those people are also the people behind the drug problem in this country? That there is a web of all these crimes that are really the social ills in our country that are linked to a single cartel. And that's exactly what's been linked, or what's been said by Dumisani Khumalo today. That these cartels, at the heart of them, the main business is drugs. But in order to fund this business and to legitimize the cash flow and to create the impression that there is a legitimate business going on, they get involved in all these other things. And also, in order to keep it going and keep the finances moving and to deal with cash flow, they get involved in all types of crimes. We heard from Kumalo today that these cartels, particularly this cartel, is involved in tender fraud. And that links to the story today with the SIU releasing that report showing 2 billion rand in tender fraud and one Vusmuzi Cat Madlanga implicated in that. You see how Khumalo's testimony is linking to all, the other things that are happening in the news cycle. But also the fact that they are linked to ATM bombings and CIT heists. And that is to help, as I said, with the cash flow. But also, they are linked in tender fraud in order to legitimize the business, so to speak. So they are seen as legitimate tenderpreneurs. I don't know if there is such a term in South Africa. Can you be a legitimate tenderpreneur? I don't know. The term tenderpreneur already carries so much negativity. But the tender business is a way to legitimize the finances in the business, to say, no, this is how I'm making my money. I am a contractor for the Gauteng Health Department. I'm not, a criminal in whatever way that you think I am. I'm not involved in drugs or anything. So the second thing, or the third thing, I've lost count now, but something else that Dumisani Khumalo has explained is how these cartels work in terms of how to enter into them. He explained that the people that are involved in these cartels usually are rather experienced people in the crime space or the criminal justice system. So the heads of the cartels would poach from the criminal justice system. These are experienced, police officers that are drawn in. And you may remember a certain Tau, who is one of the alleged hitmen that have been, whose services have been used by Vusmuzi Cat Madlanga as well as Katiso KT Molefe in the murders of Armand Swart and DJ Somebody, DJ Vintos, and others. That is someone who was a senior police officer. So we heard Kumalo today speaking to that, to say these cartels look for senior police officers or senior people within crime, the criminal justice system. But he also spoke to how these syndicates, or the people involved in the syndicates, will register companies, and most of the companies would be security companies. As you know, Vusmuzi Cat Madlanga has a security company. Why a security company? Well, this is a way to legitimize them finding or getting or procuring firearms. So it makes the firearms legal because they run security companies. You see how it's all linked and connected. And Khumalo's painted a picture to show that there are many legitimately looking businesses, right? Or legitimate looking businesses that are often not legitimate but are used as a way to cover up the real criminality. Remember, the real criminality ultimately is drugs. Now, something else that Kumalo's revealed is the importance of having the ability to move cross-border. Again, remember, Vusmuzi Matlala has a fraudulent passport, Swaziland passport, under the name Vusmuzi Dlamini. Katiso Katie Mulefa also has a fraudulent passport under the name David Libitsa. You see? And that's important because he says these drug businesses, the drug cartels, need you to be able to travel around the world and do cross-border. And in that way, you're able to go do the business and then come back into the country. We know that Matlala and Mulefe have been moving in and out of the country countless times, hundreds of times really. Their records were read in court there. That speaks to what Khumalo is saying about this drug business. Now, we know now that Khumalo has been detailing cell phone communication, which he will go into further tomorrow. So far, he's spoken about how there's been communication between Vusmuzi Matlala and Brown Mkhwanazi. We know that, and we've seen Mkhwanazi also confirming that he knows Vusmuzi Matlala. We also know that there's communication between Vusmuzi Matlala and KZN Hawks boss Leseja Senone, his son as well, Senone's son, as well as EMPD acting head Julius Mkhwanazi. That's the guy that's believed to have given Vusmuzi Matlala blue lights on his private vehicles. There's cell phone communication there and WhatsApp messages there as well. Private investigator Calvin Rafadi. That's an interesting one for me because Rafadi is a popular crime expert and he's used to analyze crime a lot. He's also involved or was involved in the cracking the Ndandipama Kudumana Thabo Bester case. Well, it seems he's also linked to Vusmuzi Matlala. Northwest businessman Suleiman Karim as well. All those cell phone records and WhatsApp communication will be read in court. Not in court, in the Commission of Inquiry soon. I believe that he will start with it tomorrow morning. In terms of the commission itself, a lot has been happening in terms of developments. We know that the chief evidence leader, Advocate Terry Mutau, SC, is tapping out. He doesn't want to be part of the commission anymore. That's according to weekend reports. We know that Justice Madlanga has been trying to convince him. That's according to the city press. But now we've heard of the appointment of Matthew Chalkston, and he is the chief evidence leader now. He comes in as the chief evidence leader to help the commission attain or carry out its work. So that's where we are currently in the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. We'll keep you in the loop, but I hope that summarizes Dumisani Khumalo's testimony for now. Join me in the comment section as we take note of anything else that may have caught your attention during proceedings today. But yeah, what a day it has been, and it will continue to be interesting days ahead. For now, though, thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification button, share with your friends, and let's make news simple. Bye for now.